Aw man, it's Halloween, but I don't have anything to talk about that's scary. I could talk about Luigi's Mansion, but I can't capture GameCube game footage right now. I got the perfect idea! Hey guys, welcome to the WAG Station. I'm your OC Outdated Gen Z himself, and as you saw from that horrendous looking title screen, I'll be talking about the Game Gear version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. It was released in 1991, just a little bit after the Genesis version of Sonic 1. And because this game is actually slightly different and not just a remake of Sonic 1 of Genesis, I felt like, hey, maybe I should talk about it. Plus, it's pretty scary. Kinda. So let's get this over with really quickly. Sonic 1 for Game Gear is actually a completely different game compared to the Sega Genesis version. Just in case if no one knew, and you think that I'm just going to be talking about Sonic 1 for the fourth time ever on this channel. Sonic 1 for Game Gear is certainly an interesting game. Now obviously, because this is a Game Gear and it runs a little bit slower than the Genesis, it's definitely slower than the Genesis Sonic games by a long shot. But surprisingly, the best part about the Game Gear versions, which I frankly like a lot better than the Genesis games, is the fact that Sonic on Game Gear doesn't have roll jump locks. Sonic CD didn't have a roll jump lock either, but why the heck wasn't in Sonic 1, 2, and 3? But anyways, I'm getting off topic here. Not only is this game completely different, but there's little bits of it that kind of connects itself to the Genesis version. So there's lots of different zones you've seen from the Genesis version now on here. Like, let's start off with Green Hill Zone. This version is basically fine, I guess. It's shorter, and then there's water in Act 2 for some reason. And then the boss here is absolutely lame as hell. He just doesn't do anything. I just beat him in like 2 seconds because he's just floating around and Sonic can reach that high, I guess, with his jumps. But the next zone here, Bridge Zone. I like this zone. It has banger music. Act 1 is fun. Act 2 is why the heck did you put a Mario auto-scroll level in this game? The boss is also pretty basic. At least he actually attacks this time compared to Green Hill Zone. But it's still really basic. Next we got Jungle Zone. Honestly, this one is also pretty fun. Probably the best levels in Sonic 1 Game Gear. Act 1 is just a pretty standard Sonic level, except for the fact that this game isn't really that fast, so it's just kind of platformy. Act 2 is a vertical Sonic level, which I think is pretty cool, but then again, it feels like Mario again. And then the boss here sucks. And then they decided to bring back Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1. Not only is Labyrinth Zone really bad in Sonic 1 on Genesis, but Sonic 1 Game Gear's Labyrinth is so bad. Because this game is already slow, it goes even slower, and sometimes you can't even tell that you're drowning if you don't know how to read numbers. Because there is no drowning music, and I kind of prefer the drowning music because I'm able to know when I'm drowning. I kinda wish that drowning music was a real life feature, not gonna lie now. Just in case if you didn't know you were already drowning. Anyways, wanna know what they put in instead? Beeping noises. Sometimes you could get that confused with smoke detectors that need replacement batteries, just like every single Call of Duty player. And the Labyrinth Zone boss blows. It's slow, it's stupid. Why doesn't this game let you have any rings in the boss? Scrap Brain Zone. Another returning zone from the Genesis Sonic 1. Act 1 was okay. Act 2 is just a troll level, because it turns out you don't go to the right, you're supposed to go to the left. And then there's not even a boss. You just get trolled, and look, there's one more level, Skybase. This one was actually pretty fun. It's kinda tough, but it's just cool, man. And the final boss just, like, completely sucks, by the way. Like, this is the most stupidest final boss of all times. It's absolutely unfair. Why didn't this game let you have any rings? Oh wait, Final Zone in Sonic 1 Genesis didn't have any rings either. But that one wasn't bullshit. It was lame. Now, anyways, if you have 50 rings and complete a stage, you're able to access the special stages. But guess what? There's no Chaos Emeralds in them. So that means they're just bonus stages. You actually find the Chaos Emeralds lying around levels. One Chaos Emerald in each zone. It's completely random on what act the Chaos Emerald is in these zones. But if you never played Sonic 1 Game Gear, or just never found any of the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 Game Gear, I will tell you which acts the Chaos Emeralds are in. And I'm not going to be showing you the rest of the locations other than the Green Hill Zone one that you just saw on screen. Green Hill Zone, Act 2. Bridge Zone, Act 1. Jungle Zone, Act 1. Labyrinth Zone, Act 2. Scrap Brain Zone, Act 2. And Skybase Zone, Act 2. Now you can finally see Sonic just jump on Robotnik's head once again. Now that I think of it, that wasn't really that random of acts. That just was mostly Act 2. Except for the 2 out-of-place zones that chose Act 1. Then again, Bridge Zone had a Mario auto-scroll level, and Jungle Zone had a Mario vertical level. And now that I think of it, this entire game kinda just plays like a Mario game, but reskinned with Sonic on it. Now it's cool the fact that they put a Sonic game on Game Gear. But what? Why does it play like a Mario game so much? The only thing that isn't Mario is the fact that you have to find the Chaos Emeralds on the ground. Dang it, there's star coins in Mario. Now weirdly enough, I come back to this game a lot, not gonna lie. The reason is weirdly enough because it was my first and only Game Gear Virtual Console title I ever bought on my 2DS. And because it had one amazing feature not another Sonic game ever recreated ever again. You can get one shield from any zone, and you can take it with you across the entire game if you never took any damage. So what you've been seeing in this gameplay with the shield across some of the zones was how long I was able to keep that shield. Well, that was Game Gear Sonic 1. It is definitely not really that good at all. But I am impressed with the fact that they did put in a full-fledged Sonic game on the Game Gear. And this isn't the last time they did this. But on the Game Gear alone, there are way better Game Gear Sonic games, and I will be talking about them in the future. But, in a nutshell, it's only good for, like, major Sonic fans. If you're a big Sonic fan, I'd suggest, hey, maybe one afternoon you're not really that busy, just kill an entire hour and play Game Gear Sonic 1 just to experience it, I guess. Or don't. But then again, it's not a Sonic the Hedgehog game that ends with the number 4.